Some of you are really spending a lot of time alone. Like, she is in control of her domain, your strengths, and the areas that you're naturally good at in life. Before we get started today, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that this is a difficult and dark time in the world for many of us right now. And I am coming into all of these readings with that understanding and awareness. And nothing that is shared here is intended to mitigate whatever else might be going on in your life at the moment. I see tarot as a way to empower oneself to be able to see things more clearly and know exactly where to take action when maybe the next best step isn't so clear. So with that, we will get into our readings for this month. Thank you. Taurus! Welcome to your April reading. This message is also for you anytime you might find it.
As always, we'll be using our classic Mystic Compass spread, starting here at the north. This card will represent the area of your life that has to do with housing, finances, career, etc. And then we've got an action item to follow. Over here to the east, we've got our thoughts, mindset, focus, dreams, as well as an action item to complement. Down here at the south, we've got our passions, our belief systems, anything that gets us really fired up, that gets us going, and our motivation, as well as a corresponding action item. Over here to the west, we've got our feelings and emotions, anything that is touching us in a deep emotional way, as well as an action item that corresponds. Finally, we've got one card in the center to tie everything together to show us what exactly we are looking at as the main point of the reading of this month and how everything is interconnected.
Let's get started with your cards to the north. This is our housing, finances, and career. Knight of Swords. You are making moves, Taurus. You are full speed ahead. At least your brain is full speed ahead. You are thinking a lot about these elements of your life, these foundational core pieces of life. So you might be thinking about and you might be having accelerated thoughts around a change in career, a change in finances. Some of you also are having a lot of thoughts about your health. So if that's the case, then I would really encourage those of you to go get your health concerns checked out just to make sure there's nothing too serious going on by a medical doctor. But there's a lot of thought happening, but the thought is taking you forward. The thought is launching you forward. Let's see what your action item is. 9 of Wands. So some of you are really spending a lot of time alone and sort of hermiting and overthinking and ruminating and wondering if you're on the right path, doing the right things. This is not, and maybe feeling like an imposter, some of you, in these different areas of life. So you might feel like an imposter at work or with your family. This is your invitation to, if you're not taking enough time by yourself to think about these things alone, then this is your invitation to step aside and take the time that you need to think about it. If you've been overthinking and hermiting and to the point where it's almost debilitating because you're just stuck, then this is your invitation to take action to get out of that. So maybe instead of just spending all this time sitting around and being concerned about the whatever is going on in this area of your life, take action. You could talk to someone else. You could, maybe you're thinking about moving, but you haven't actually started looking at places to live. This would be a good time to start looking at the places to live. We want to get you into a quicker moving pace, okay? So that's going to get you out of this stuck feeling that a lot of you have. Let's see what we have for you over at the east. This is your thoughts and focus and dreams, anything of the mind. King of Cups. That's an interesting one, Taurus. So a lot of you have been thinking about about emotions, or just about compassion and caring, and what that looks like and how that shows up in the world, in society. And a lot of you might be thinking about how you can bring more compassion to society yourself and have a more positive influence on the world around you. Let's see what your action item is. That's going to give us a little more direction for you. The sun. Oh my gosh, Taurus. Whatever is your passion or your talent or your secret sauce, that is what you can do. That's what you can start thinking about more in terms of how to bring forth more compassion in the world, because your talent might not have anything to do with compassion directly, but I'm sure it does indirectly. We can create the connections. There are already, we don't even have to create them. We can just see the connections that exist between things without putting in too much effort. So for example, you might have a business. You might be a business owner, and you have a choice as to whether or not to employ visa holders, immigrants, people that are not green card holders, lawful permanent residents, or citizens in the country in which they're working, whether that is the United States or any other country in the world. And perhaps you have the opportunity to employ that talent that is at risk in a lot of ways in a lot of parts of the world right now. And your specialty isn't necessarily immigration law or employment law, but your specialty might be just having a successful business and running a successful business in any industry: construction, marketing, production of a product, anything. So maybe you are very good at running the business, and maybe now is an opportune time for you to be able to give back in the form of employment opportunities to those that might be more at a disadvantage in order to gain employment for themselves. Those are ways that you can demonstrate compassion without jeopardizing your own gains and your own talents and strategies. So you're showcasing your own talents in order to create opportunities for others. Let's see what we have for you at the south. And those are things for you to be thinking about, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to act right now, but you can think it through. You can start thinking through that process. It might be a slow process for a lot of you, not all of you, but it's an opportunity that you can create moving forward. Down here at the south, in the position of your passion, this is our fire element, so this is your passion, your beliefs. We've got the Ace of Swords. So this is a new beginning. You might recently find that you have a passion for politics. You might recently find that you have a passion for human rights. You might recently have found that you have a passion for doing the right thing. This is a beginning journey. This isn't something that that you've always been doing. What could be new here is how you interact in that realm. So let's see, what is your action item here? Queen of Wands. I love Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands energy is like the ultimate matriarch. Like, she is in control of her domain. And we have this matching element here because the element of the south is fire and the element of wands is also fire. So you've got this double fire element, and it's prompting you to act as a matriarch. It doesn't matter what your gender affiliation is whatsoever. You can have matriarchal tendencies as a man, as a cis-het man. You can, I swear. So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about matriarchy, is caring for community and caring for others. And it means that your wins are also the wins of other people. So that means, for example, if you get a promotion at work or you get a new job, somehow you come into new money that's more than what you had before. It could be a one-time donation. Maybe someone in your family has passed on and you were the beneficiary in their will. That's an example as well. Or it could be that you won the lottery. It could be that. These are just examples, but it's not the important thing here is not that you won the lottery or that you got the money. The important thing here is what you're doing with the money afterwards. So are you just hoarding it for yourself, or are you distributing it out? Are you able to make an extra donation? So if it's an increase in your wages or your salary at your W-2 job, or maybe you're a contract worker and you have clients and you just got a brand new client that's going to pay you a lot of money, it's what are you doing with that extra money? Are you just keeping it all for yourself, or are you able to donate a portion to a group or a person in need, right? Are you able to spread that wealth? Are you able to share with your family members? Typically, maybe you give a $100 donation per year to your alma mater or to cancer research. And maybe this year you're able to increase that to $200 donation. Or maybe typically you give $10,000 and now you're able to give $15,000. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. Or maybe you have recently been given more time. It doesn't have to be money, it could be more time. So perhaps with your time, you're able to, instead of not volunteering at all or giving time in any way at all, maybe now you're able to volunteer once per month for a few hours. And that could be anywhere. You can be volunteering at a soup kitchen. You can be volunteering with immigrants. You can be volunteering with a women's shelter for survivors of domestic violence, things like that. So many different options. You could volunteer at an animal shelter and start fostering animals, or spending time at the shelter and helping them to clean and care for the animals that are there. So many different options. But that's the type of thing we're talking about, and that is your homework assignment in that area, which is figure out how you can give back in a meaningful way with what it is that you've been given in life. Let's move over to the west. This is our water element, and so this is our being in touch with our feelings and emotions. And we have another ace, so another beginning for you, Taurus. Ace of Wands. This is a new beginning in terms of things that you're passionate about. So you might be recently feeling into a passion project. Some of you are new parents, so you've just given birth or you've just adopted, and this is your and this is just acknowledging that initiation of this new version of yourself. But there's a lot of feeling that goes along with new beginnings like this, and that's totally understandable. Let's see what your action item is over here. 5 of Cups. So again, we're doubling down here with our cups are also representative of the water element, and we're in the position of the West, which is the water element. So we're doubling down on that emotion. Some of you in these new endeavors into parenthood or into new projects, into something new. Some of you are really hard on yourselves and reprimanding yourselves for not doing everything perfectly and not doing things right. That's part of the learning process. The human experience is a learning process. So it is not, you want to ask yourself, is it really beneficial for me to beat myself up over this mistake or for not knowing something? But some of you are taking this very hard. I can see that here, Taurus. And like too hard on yourselves, and to the point that you're not even acknowledging or seeing or putting as much weight on the things that you are doing right. So you even though there are areas of improvement and you want to do better, you're not even acknowledging the things that you are doing well, and that's something to think about. There's a professional, it's not a personality test, but it's similar to a personality test. It's called Clifton Strength Finders. And what Strength Finders does, and it's created by Gallup. And what this particular test does is it focuses on your strengths rather than your weaknesses. So it points out what are your top strengths, and the ideology is that you lean into perfecting those strengths, or not perfecting, but working on those strengths so that you can bring those strengths forward, and that those are your best assets in life and in the workplace. So something like that test could, maybe if you have an employer that offers that test, it would be really beneficial for you, Taurus, to take that, or if you have taken it before, to go back and review your results so that you can remember the things that you are doing well. If it's hard for you just on your own to think about and acknowledge the things that you're doing right, having an actual test in front of you can remind you of that, and the test results can remind you of that. Another similar test is the DISC personality test. There's also Myers-Briggs, and there's also a color test that I don't remember the name of right now, but it gives you a color, and that one's similar to DISC. And so any of these personality tests can point out the areas, yes, of course, the areas for improvement that you can work on, but they're also going to point out your strengths and the areas that you're naturally good at in life. And that is really important, to acknowledge what we are doing right and what is going well, because we have enough in the world telling us that we're wrong and we're not doing things correctly. So Taurus, another homework assignment for you this month is to really focus on what it is that you are doing right instead of just what you're doing wrong. Let's see what your final card is, tying everything together for the month. Page of Pentacles. Okay, this is great. I love this card for you, Taurus. Page of Pentacles is a master communicator, and the reason why this figure communicates so well is because they break down the very basics. We are breaking everything down to basics, and very tangible insights in order to bring together a whole and better understand situations. And the Page of Pentacles is someone that is able to tie together multiple concepts and then bring them forward in a way that makes sense to other people. So this can show up in any situation, any industry, any personal, social situation whatsoever. But this also can show up in specific career paths. So this will show up, for example, as someone that leads trainings, such as a CPR training, an emergency evacuation training, any type of training. How a user manual, someone that is able to regurgitate a user manual for a particular process. Maybe there's a new product that needs to be communicated about to a new purchaser of that product, and you're the best person to relay that information. So this is just asking you to look at where it is that you are able to best showcase your talents as far as communicating the fundamentals, and not just communicating the fundamentals, but also how the fundamentals come together for you. So using different parts of your life as a foundation in order to advance yourself to the next level. Using different parts of your life to really get to what is next. And seeing those connections between the different things so that you can build something bigger and better later on. This isn't asking you to be a master of your trade. This is just asking you to be vigilant and action oriented around what is working and what is not. Okay, Taurus, that's all I have for you. See you next time. Please be sure to check out your Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs for a fuller picture of your month ahead. Thank you. Bye.